In what many see as a major turning point in African politics, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa was reportedly seen in tears during a private session at the African Union AU summit. The emotional moment followed a powerful and unexpected speech from Burkina Faso transitional leader Captain Ibrahim Traoré, one of the most outspoken voices in Africa's new wave of anti-colonial leaders. The confrontation has triggered intense debate across the continent, dividing opinion among politicians, youth leaders, and activists. It also brought attention to the growing tension between Africa's older generation of leaders and a younger group pushing for bold, revolutionary change. This dramatic exchange happened during an AU session focused on African unity and reducing the continent's reliance on foreign powers. As the discussion shifted toward economic dependency, declining democracy, and the continued presence of Western troops in Africa, it became clear that a major clash was coming. Then Captain Traoré, just 36 years old, broke the silence with a fiery speech. Without naming names at first, he accused senior African leaders of abandoning the revolutionary values they once stood for. Turning directly to President Ramaphosa, he said, "Mr. President, the ANC was once a symbol of African resistance. But today, South Africa no longer exports hope, only silence. You were meant to carry the legacy of Mandela and Biko, but instead you now protect Western interests. Africa doesn't need Western managers. Africa needs true liberators." Gasps filled the room. Delegates looked around, stunned. Some turned away. The atmosphere shifted. No longer business as usual, but a moment of raw, uncomfortable truth. People close to the South African delegation later revealed that Ramaphosa was deeply shaken, not by anger, but by the weight of Traoré's words. Witnesses said he lowered his head, took out a handkerchief, and quietly wiped away tears. It was a brief, silent moment, but it quickly spread across the continent through behind-the-scenes accounts, sparking reactions from all corners. For many, this was a wake-up call. Once praised as a key figure in ending apartheid and guiding South Africa through a peaceful transition, Ramaphosa now faces criticism for leading a country burdened with economic hardship, political stagnation, and growing inequality. Meanwhile, Captain Traoré has become a symbol of the younger generation, a group fed up with slow reforms and tired of foreign interference. Since taking office in 2022 after a military-backed transition fueled by public protests, Traoré has removed French troops from Burkina Faso, pushed to take control of key natural resources, and aligned his country with other revolutionary governments in the Sahel region. While some accuse him of using heavy-handed tactics, many see him as a much-needed voice challenging decades of weak leadership and elite privilege. His firm stance and blunt message have struck a chord across Africa, and the summit moment may be just the beginning of a larger shift. Young voices rise as Africa faces a new political crossroads. Many young Africans now see Captain Ibrahim Traoré as a bold leader who says out loud what many have been thinking in silence. He speaks for the frustrated, said Professor Amin Diop, a political analyst at the University of Dar es Salaam. He might not be a smooth-talking diplomat, but he captures the urgency and anger felt by a generation tired of leaders who talk big but compromise with those who exploit us. For decades, South Africa's ruling party, the African National Congress ANC, was a symbol of African freedom, shaped by icons like Nelson Mandela, Oliver Tambo, and Steve Biko. It inspired hope across the continent. But today, many feel the ANC has lost its way. Internal conflicts, corruption scandals, and a lack of clear direction have eroded its image. When President Cyril Ramaphosa took office in 2018, he promised change. He vowed to clean up the ANC, fix the economy, and rebuild trust in government. But over time, that hope has faded. South Africa now faces high unemployment, growing inequality, power outages, and ongoing corruption. Critics say Ramaphosa avoids tough decisions, tries too hard to please everyone, and listens too much to political elites. This contrast between Ramaphosa's cautious leadership and Traoré's fiery approach reflects a bigger debate across Africa. What kind of leadership does a continent truly need today? Should Africa keep balancing old colonial ties and new powers like China and Russia, or finally shape its own path, built on independence in politics, economics, and culture? The dramatic exchange between the two leaders at the AU summit sparked a storm across Africa. On social media, especially among young people in West and Central Africa, Traoré was praised as a truth-teller. Hashtags like #Africizing and #NoMorePuppets went viral. In South Africa, reactions were mixed. Many called on the ANC to reflect and reform. Veteran journalist Thabo Markin wrote in the Sunday Tribune, "This wasn't just about Ramaphosa. It marked the collapse of the myth that the ANC's past alone is enough. People want results. They want leaders with courage." Others were more cautious. The South African presidency released a calm statement, calling the summit productive and urging unity. It avoided directly addressing the heated moment. Still, insiders say the ANC's leadership was rattled, and that President Ramaphosa has quietly acknowledged that some of Traore's points were valid. Will this be the moment that sparks real change? That remains to be seen. But one thing is clear. African politics is entering a new phase, one shaped less by past struggles and more by the urgent needs and dreams of a rising generation. And the image that many won't forget? A seasoned president wiping away his tears, as a young rebel dared to speak a truth no one else would.